What is up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the LG G8 to the LG V50, so you can figure out which one is going to be best for you. So the G8 goes for around 200 to 250 bucks, extremely cheap for a flagship phone, and the V50 goes for around 300 bucks on eBay. I'll put the links down below. So the big difference with both of these phones would really be the form factor, is what you're going to be looking for. So you have a smaller body on the G8 as opposed to the V50. You have a 6.1 inch display. They both have 1440p displays, but the V50 is bigger at 6.4 inches. So if you're really into just bigger phones, then definitely the V50 is what you're gonna go for. But as far as display quality, they're pretty much exactly the same. They're both 1440p. They're both POLED displays. They both have high pixel density, so there's no real difference with the displays other than the screen size. And that pretty much goes for the hardware as well. Pretty much the same design, the same button layout, volume rockers, your Google Assistant button. They both have the headphone jack with your quad DAC on board. You also have the same notch on both of these guys, but the V50 does have the dual camera setup for the front facing. So spec wise, you both have Android 10 on both of these phones, and they're both really fast, so no real problems there. You do have the Snapdragon 855 with the Adreno 640 on both of these phones, so performance is going to be pretty much the same when it comes to just swiping through applications. Gaming, it's going to be exactly the same, other than, like I said, the screen size. So I personally like the G8's form factor a little bit more, just because I just like smaller phones. Sometimes the V50 is just a little too big for my hands. Sometimes I have to shimmy it, but like I said, if you like big phones, then you're definitely going to really like the V50. If you just have kind of smaller hands like me, the G8 is definitely the phone you want to go with here. Now you've got 6 gigs of RAM and expandable storage on here with a micro SD. You also have 128 gigs of internal storage, so plenty of storage on both of these devices. So like I said, the headphone jack is on here. You have NFC on both of these guys. You also have 5G on the LG V50, so if you live in a 5G area, this is definitely a bonus. Even though 5G is kind of not really here yet, you do have that, but for me, I haven't been able to test it because where I live. But if you do, you already have a 5G phone ready for when it really gets out. So the fingerprint scanner on the back is pretty much identical. They're both very fast and they work great. So the next, I guess, big difference, but not really, is the camera. So on the G8, you have a 12 megapixel standard and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. You have the same pretty much camera setup on the V50, but they add a telephoto lens on the V50. So you have a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. They both shoot in 4Ks, 40 or 60 FPS, and you have that dual camera setup on the V50 for those selfies. As far as image quality goes, you're not seeing a huge difference. The only difference I saw was that the V50 gives off kind of more vibrant colors sometimes, and it bounces back from color accuracy because outdoors you'll have just better colors on the G8, more lifelike colors, and then indoors the V50 kind of gets the color right, but as far as the image quality itself is pretty much identical, so there's no real difference here. So if you really need the telephoto lens and the dual camera setup on the front of the V50, then it definitely is superior in this department. But if it's not really that big of a deal, then you can save some money and just get the G8. Now for the speaker, now you do have stereo speakers on the V50, and it is slightly louder than the G8 and definitely sounds a little bit better. The G8 just has a single firing speaker, so if you're really into just listening to content out loud, then the V50 does have the louder sound here. Now on the V50, you have a 4000 milliamp battery, 18-watt fast charging with your wireless charging, and on the G8 you also have a pretty nice sized battery at 3500 milliamps with 21-watt fast charging. So the G8 does charge slightly faster than the LG V50. It's something I noticed, something I actually appreciate, the faster charge. You do have wireless charging as well, so battery life is actually pretty much the same. Just because the G8 has the smaller battery actually doesn't mean that it's going to be worse. I actually found that it was pretty much the same battery life. You're getting around 8 hours of screen on time. So battery life on here is excellent. You can definitely get through a day on both of these phones, no problem. So yeah, not the most interesting comparison, but it just has these little small minor things that you have to pay attention to. So better speakers on the V50. The G8, in my opinion, is just the more comfortable phone for me to hold. As far as display, they're both the same. The cameras are pretty much the same. There's no real difference besides the dual camera setup on the front and the telephoto lens. So that's pretty much it. If you really need a 5G phone, then I think the V50 is like one of the cheapest ones you can get. I believe that's actually a flagship. So both excellent phones, great for gaming, great for watching content. Just has everything you will want. The IP ratings, everything you can want is in both of these phones, so you really can't go wrong with either. So what do you guys think? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.